Ric Flair, there was a very interesting letter here because, I mentioned last week how I think it's ridiculous for Ric Flair to have to retire and for people to be down on him about coming back when it wasn't even Ric Flair's idea to retire. I mean, he was very adamant when he did do the retirement match last year that it was his last match, but I don't even think it was his idea. And the whole storyline was that it was Vince's imposition and Flair didn't want to retire. So storyline-wise, it actually makes perfect sense that Flair returns to the ring, quite frankly. But I thought this was a very poignant letter from Tony Yannuzzi, given the other side of the coin. So this is from Tony Yannuzzi here, who says, Ric Flair was and is one of my wrestling heroes. I was there for what was supposed to be Ric Flair's last match. I was there for his Hall of Fame induction the previous evening. This is Orlando last year at WrestleMania 24. I had a hell of a time getting there. I wrecked my car and got into credit card debt. Now, to be fair, I don't think it's Ric Flair's fault that Tony Yannuzzi wrecked his car, but bear with us. And got into credit card debt. I'm now just paying it off. Now, if he comes back, I'll not help but feel that it was all for nothing. And, when I look at it from that perspective, Adam, I can see the other side of the coin in terms of people who bought the show for the hype of it being Flair's last match. I can definitely see that argument, Adam.
Yeah. It's just because, this may have been the best retirement in history, and for people that were there, it really is taking away the moment that he's coming back.
Yeah, I can see that. If they just phrased it as being the Ric Flair testimonial or something, because here
they're not going to do that because it's not WWE.
Yeah.
Why would they care? It's only Ric Flair that could go and tell them not to do that.
Yeah, so it's just, I think just by the nature of it, unless they bill it as a retirement match, nobody's going to care. I'd like to see it done differently, but that's the way it's always going to be done. So, but I can definitely see Tony's point. Tony also makes another note here, which is interesting. During the segment last week that set up the eventual 6-person tag match, this is last week's Raw with Trish Stratus, Beth Phoenix told Trish how, quote, you never faced me because you were scared. Trish shot back with, quote, what are you talking about? I didn't even know you back then. However, and we're talking about this, how they did the long storyline with Mickie James and Trish Stratus, where Mickie was Trish's stalker, and they actually referred to it on Raw last week. However, storyline-wise, continues Tony, this is false. Beth was introduced to the main roster during the Trish-Mickie stalker program. Trish told Mickie that she was introducing someone from Mickey's past, and introduced a not as of yet Glamazon Beth Phoenix. Once Mickie saw this, she protested and threw a fit, screaming, no, leave her out of this, she doesn't belong here. So basically, Trish Stratus actually introduced introduced Beth Phoenix to WWE. I have no recollection of this. I've forgotten about this.
No, I don't remember that at all, but I'll take your word for it.
Yep, and during the 6-woman tag match that same night, Beth fractured her jaw from an errant blow. I do actually have a recollection of that. She was taken off TV while she had her jaw fixed, and by the time she reappeared, repackaged as a Glamazon, the Trish-Mickie storyline had run its course. So that's actually kind of interesting, Adam, how they referred to something that happened 5 years ago that most people wouldn't remember, but they didn't actually refer to it properly. So anybody who did remember, like Tony Yannuzzi, actually still got screwed because they screwed up the storyline anyway.
And do you remember about a year ago that Trish pinned Beth as well in the tag match in Raw?
Was that Beth in the tag match with John Cena and
Santino?
And Santino. All right. That's right. That was Beth. So in fact, they even wrestled last year. So they forgot last year as well. So that's pretty poor. I mean, if you're going to reference history, which you should always do, you can at least get it right. So
and you don't call it a first time ever meeting when they have.
When it's absolutely not, and anybody who looks it up will figure out otherwise. Yeah, exactly. So that was a really good catch from Tony Yannuzzi, who's celebrating his birthday coming up. So happy birthday, Tony, and thanks for that cool catch on Raw.